Your landline, call from your landline, because that is a better location of where you are. Otherwise, know where you are. Your cell phone does have a GPS, but they do say use your landline if you possibly can. That still is the better choice. And then the next thing which we talked about that happened on that soccer field is somebody said, "Where's the AED?"
It wasn't me that said, "Where's the AED?" But, so let's start with cardiac arrest. It was mentioned here that a heart attack is a little bit different than a cardiac arrest. Heart attack is decreased blood flow to your heart muscle, and when that happens, you start getting damage to that heart muscle. Cardiac arrest, sudden cardiac arrest, is a heart attack on steroids. It's when your heart muscle starts going into irregular heart rhythms, lethal rhythms, and the most common one is V-fib, which is, all it does is quiver. So who are my a couple of girls. None of the guys will admit it anyways, right? Okay. Code Black, the guys on this one. Code Black, there we are in the back. So you see him defibrillate a guy on a gurney, and you see that body jump up about 3 feet off the gurney. It's not that dramatic. All it is all the muscles tighten. But the key thing that they're doing is shocking the heart so that all that electrical activity stops, and so that the heart will, its own intrinsic electrical beat will start up on its own. That's our hope. Keep your fingers crossed. So, we heard stories about people collapsing on soccer fields, in their bedroom, between classes in school. It's across all ages and all ranges. What if somebody collapsed here in the gym right now? You know where the closest AED is? That's it. There's my man right there. Right there on the wall, it's the closest one. There's one in the health office, there's one on the football field in the ticket office, and there's one by the pool. So you guys have several opportunities, several AEDs around here. They're simple to use. This model, all you do is there's a little green tab on there that you pull, and it exposes the pads, and it'll start talking to you. All AEDs will start coaching you and telling you exactly, follow the directions that are on the AED, and it tells you what to do. Put the pads on the body, it tells you when to push the button and all that stuff. So between the AED and the fire department and dispatcher, somebody's there to help you through. So the other thing I want to cover is choking. Let's say you guys are hanging out presto pasta and having spaghetti and meatballs, and your buddy starts grabbing his neck. Where's my volunteers? Oh, they're like, no, not me, not me. Somebody starts grabbing his neck, and you get that panic look in your face, and you're like, dude, what's going on? There you go. Dude, what's going on? So it's kind of obvious, you know, they're sitting there eating, and they're wolfing their food down, talking about the great basketball game where you guys beat the pants off of Wesley. And so he starts choking on the meatball, and he starts coughing. If he's choking and he's coughing, the best thing you can do is encourage him to cough. That's the best way and the easiest way to get that food back up. But if he can't move any air and he's giving you that panic look, you may have to do abdominal thrusts on this person. So I want everybody to make a fist and put their knuckles against their belly button. Go for it. And then roll up on your thumb. Then what you do is reach around with the other hand and grab it, and you want to give thrusts at a diagonal angle up and in. Now, I know you don't want to hurt your buddy, so you can be like, oh, you're not thinking, I'm not going to push very hard. But you're trying to pop something out of their throat, so you want to launch this thing. Don't shoot for anything on your table. Aim for the table across the room, giving it into somebody else's lunch. It is possible to do it for yourself if you're by yourself. And I should before we met, she had a boyfriend, and she was at his parents' house. It's like one of those deals where the first time you meet the parents, they serve a big spaghetti dinner and whatnot. And same thing, meatballs. And the lesson here is stay away from meatballs. So she's chewing on a meatball, scarfing it, and gets stuck in her throat. And she doesn't want to be embarrassed to her boyfriend's parents, right? So she goes sneaking off into the bathroom, and she says, what was going through my mind was, oh my God, I'm going to die, and nobody's going to know about it. She was in nursing school at the time, so what she did, she knew about abdominal thrust, but she dropped her stomach against the counter and actually popped it out herself. So it is possible.
So the third thing that happened on that soccer field was that somebody started doing compressions on this young guy. He's still in the hospital right now. We've cooled him. We do therapeutic hypothermia, which is where we take the core temperature of the body down to 33.8 degrees Celsius, and that allows the brain, lowers the metabolism to hopefully help that brain from being more hurt. so to speak. So right now he's in that state. We're not really sure. We never know how somebody's going to do until after we start warming them. But I know one thing, that every single thing was done accurately and on time to give him the greatest chance to survive. And that's why we're here. That's what we want. Life is quite a gift, and we don't want to take it for granted. So I'm going to invite up Alex. Now we're going to get into the hows and the whys of compressionless CPR, and she's going to show you, we're going to show you how to do it, and you're going to get a chance to practice.
Hi everyone. So a couple of years ago, the American Heart Association hands-only bystander sidewalk CPR. All of it means the same thing. We only use our hands. We do not do mouth-to-mouth anymore. In your body, you have enough oxygen in your blood to keep you going. If you hold your breath, you won't drop dead. You'll still be alive. Eventually, you do need oxygen, and we give a person oxygen once we show up. But until we show up, we're just going to ask you to do the compressions only. So your brain needs two things, sugar and oxygen. We're going to provide the oxygen by doing compressions. You want to check on the person, so shake and shout, make sure they're not just sleeping. Hey, are you okay? Wake up. You get no response, you're going to call 911. If there's another person, we get the AD. So call 911. Now you're going to do compressions. The heel of your hand goes in the middle of the chest. Your other hand goes on top, interlocking your fingers so your hands don't slip. Elbows are straight, your knees are touching the person, and then you push down hard and fast. As you can see, we're not going super fast. It's a nice steady pace. We're not going super slow either. You hear the clicking. You want to get that click. That's about 2 inches down for an adult. And you're going to continue compressions until we show up, until we're right next to you. Now again, what this is doing is pushing on the heart, which is pushing oxygenated blood to your brain. Every time you go down, when you come up, the heart is being filled up with blood again, and then sending it when you push down, it sends it back out. So it's a cycle. Up to your brain, back to your heart. Up to your brain, simple cycle. And that's it.
One thing I want to just reiterate is that the floor is our friend. You always, just like in that video of Ryan, the dispatch said get him on the floor, because you don't do compressions in a bed. If you think about it, you're going to push down, what's going to happen? The whole body goes down. You're not able to compress. You're not going to be able to perfuse. The floor is our friend, and you want to put your knees next to them, and you want to lock your elbows like she said. So, this is becoming old. Everybody's got sick of hearing it, but have you guys all heard of synchronized swimming? Anybody watch that? Well, right now, you're going to see synchronized CPR right here in Ventura County. Now that's talent. America's got talent. Excellent. Give them a hand. Staying Alive is a song. It's about 100 beats a minute. Our metronomes are set to 112 in the hospital and also in the, but it's a great song to think through. And if you're musical, you can even, you know, if you got rhythm, it's a good song to, if you don't, use a metronome. So now what I want you to do is I want to get about 4 people per, 4 people, yes, what? What we're going to do is we're going to practice, you're going to practice the CPR and the choking, the Heimlich, or the thrusting, and then we're going to come back for questions and a couple other things. So go ahead, about 4 people per mannequin.
Hey everybody, for those that are just joining us, this is Physician Assistant Student Club, broadcasting live over here in Ventura County at Newbury Park High School. And we're assisting AMR Ventura, the local ambulance provider, in teaching Sidewalk CPR. So this is us in action. So far we're doing groups of 130, and we're probably going to do about 700 students today. So this is Physician Assistant Student Club in action. So stay tuned and enjoy. Ricky's been getting the girls all morning.
Kill me!
Cool, guys. Let me see the uniforms. Nice. Cool. Got our scrub pants and our scrub pants and our new shirts. Awesome. Awesome. Oh yeah. Nice. It's our shirts we just got. Very impressive.
Did you take pictures or was it a video?
Oh no, we're broadcasting from Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were taking pictures.
Do we have viewers?
Oh,
Yeah.
man, did you get my best
Yeah,
song?
yes I did. I got Ricky instructing all the girls there.
Great job, you guys. Not too hard, is it? We have a gal that actually is now graduated. Was 16 and went to Westlake High School, and she was at home with her dad. And he had a cardiac arrest. He was sitting in a chair. She called 911. Had never done CPR, and she did CPR on her dad for 5 minutes until EMS arrived. So if she could do it, anybody can do it. At her school, we actually did a challenge. We called it the 2-minute challenge. Who can actually do it for 2 minutes? But we kind of don't have the time here. Turn down this amazing music.
PASC is front and center, of course.
So questions have come up as far as children and babies. When infants and neonates have a cardiac arrest, it usually, unless they have a heart anomaly that is not known, it's usually respiratory. A lot of the babies that I've worked on that have come to the ER is when they've had some kind of an infection, respiratory, they aren't breathing, and then their heart stops. So I would encourage you to take a class on CPR where you will learn the CPR for an infant or a neonate. But as far as compressions, and again, dispatch is going to talk you through, so that they are our friend. You're going to use 2 fingers on a little infant. You can actually do it even when they're in your arms. We've had parents call 911 and are doing CPR while they're on the phone. You can also put your hand in circle. Randy, can you show the encircle? There, just like that, and doing CPR. Okay, if that's for an infant. For a child, you might have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. And if you're going to do compressions on them, you probably just use one hand, not both your hands if they're small. And actually, the rule of thumb is the same rate for every single age. I don't care if you're 2 years old or if you're 90. You're going to use the same rate, 100 to 112 a minute. Your depth is going to change because for a child, when they're laying down, you're going to want to do 1/3 of the dimension of that. As they're laying down, that will give you the depth to actually perfuse the brain. In Ventura County, over the past years, we've had from 2006, we have had 270 people survive cardiac arrest. That's one of the tops in the country. And it's attributed to many things. It's attributed to our amazing EMS system. They are all trained, all our EMTs, firefighters are all trained in what we call CAM, which is cardiac arrest management. It's fashioned after the pit crews. Have you guys ever seen a pit crew with the race, when the race cars come in and everybody has a job and it takes 2 seconds and they change the tires and they continue on? These guys, that's how they do cardiac arrest. They actually everyone has a job, they know what they're supposed to do. It's kind of like an orchestra. They just, ahead of time, they know if they're first on scene, what they're going to do, second, third, fourth. Amazing, amazing job. And also the quality of our CPR. Our hospitals all do therapeutic hypothermia. Our STEMI receiving centers, our cardiac arrest patients go to specific hospitals that can take care of them cardiac-wise.
Yes, AMR Ventura.
So 270 people that are alive and with their families. Now, when we say somebody survived cardiac arrest, we don't mean just that their heart's still pumping. We don't count it if they have to go to a nursing home because they're in a vegetative state. We don't call that is really not a CPR save. It is people that are back with their families, like you've met them today, that are actually functioning and they're actually back in their lives. So it's an honor to be. Any questions from you guys? One question. Just give me one question. How's my day? My day's great. How's your day? Good.
Did you break a rib?
What?
Can you break a rib when you do
You can break a rib when you do CPR. Thank you. I knew somebody would have a question. The older somebody is, the more likely that their ribs can break, and because the ribs are with osteoporosis and they're more brittle. But people don't die from broken ribs, and we see more broken ribs now. I see more now than I used to see because we're doing better compressions. But the younger you are, the very seldom do we see the broken ribs, but they can happen. Yes? How long can somebody be down and still come back? I mean, like, well, as Terry said, she was down for 6 minutes, which is pretty unique to, you know, but yet she's young. The younger somebody is, the greater chance they have. What is the, I forget what the exact, how long somebody's down. It's usually, it's minutes. It's that we should be able to, I've seen people, they'll survive, like a lot of these guys, when Ryan said they worked on him for 40 minutes, Terry 45 minutes, they were down, but somebody was perfusing them. The outside heart was beating from somebody's hands. Okay? Yes? This AED on children.
American Heart Association says that you can, as long as they're older than like 1 year old. There's some things we do. We consider them pads on the front and back of the child because we only have adult pads on these ones. So my recommendation would be like they say, get in a real CPR class, which is about a 4-hour class, American Heart Association. They get in that, it's a little more effective. But you can, it is possible.
And it would probably be recommended just because we know we need to do something. However, again, the dispatch is your friend. They're going to talk you through everything. Okay, so as long as you have them, they're going to help you. Yes? When do you use the AED as regards to regular compressions? Very good question. You're going to do compressions no matter what. Okay? When Ryan was talking about his heart was fibrillating, we called it fibrillates. So if your heart's doing this, it's not pumping. It's in a state of fibrillation. But it's at a state where it can be shocked back into a normal rhythm. Okay, so when you're doing CPR, immediately when somebody goes into cardiac arrest, you're keeping that heart from going into what we call asystole. So you really are, and what you want to do is somebody's going to be doing CPR, somebody's getting the AED. Because they actually go hand in hand. Okay? Yes? You got it. Look at that. It says AED stands for Automatic External Defibrillator. If you are in, if your heart's fibrillating, we want to defibrillate it. What? That's very good. Yes? He said, I mentioned certain circumstances where you do mouth to mouth. I was talking about infants, little children. But again, what I would say to you is that you'd have to probably learn, I'm not here to teach that significantly, but you can, dispatch will talk you through that. If you called and you had a little baby that was in cardiac arrest, you're going to go, they're going to tell you what to do as far as breathing. Signs of cardiac arrest. Well, the dispatchers probably know and the EMS knows that usually the call comes in, like this couple nights ago with this young man, it came out as a seizure. Because when the body goes into cardiac arrest, what happens? The heart absolutely stops. And you know, did you guys ever do a hold your breath contest when you were little? Oh, well, you're smarter than I was, but we used to do it when I was a kid, and you could hold your breath for quite a long time. In fact, some people are really good at it who are good divers, and so you can hold your breath for quite a period of time. But if you were walking and your heart stopped, you're going down at that very moment, okay? So because no blood is perfusing, you can't function. And so when somebody goes down, their body lots of times looks like, we call it a VFib seizure, looks like it's in a seizure. The other thing, when the dispatch is going to ask you, are they breathing? And one thing about when you're in cardiac arrest, we call it guppy breathing or agonal respirations, where they might be doing this. But that's not normal breathing. One of the dispatchers, how do you guys help them tell whether it's normal breathing or not?
We'll ask you for breathing, and we'll do what you talked about, and we call it
So yeah, what you do is if someone else is there with you, you're kneeling on one side, have them kneel on the other side. They're going to put their right next to yours, and then when you come up, the other person wants to switch in and get involved. You want minimum time of no compression. The sooner you do that, the better. Yes, one more. Yeah.
That's a very difficult situation. Yeah. Thank you all. It was great being here.
All right, Physician Assistant Club killing it. Got another 200 students to go for a total of about, I don't know, between like 700 and 800. So go PASC. This is what we do.